Afrinique-Chic royalist. I am here, I myself, Aurelie, and the phenomenal, just married. You can see how fresh she is, right, guys? Just married Mohale.
Yes.
And we are here to give you a little bit more detail about who Mohale is, the man, the brand, and basically just the genius behind everything he does and how he's planning to take over, you know, revitalizing why we do things, how we do things, being conscious, being African, being Pan-African. And then, well, that's a bit of an introduction, but we'll leave it at that and let him speak for himself. Thank you so much for joining us and making amazing time. You have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful working space.
Thank you.
So please tell us a little bit about who Mohale is first, and then we'll leap into the rest.
Look, I get the question a lot, but I can never really get to how I can describe myself. But literally, I'm 24 years old. I've just launched myself into business.
Yeah.
I love school. I love people. I love Africa, and I love making money. Yeah.
Yes, honey. Okay. So I love that you said you're 24. That's like a ripe old age where people are still trying to figure out what am I going to do? Am I in the right field? Why am I not in the right field? Why do I not feel right? How did you decide what it means to, you know, conduct business in terms of Mohale? How did you know what to go into? How did you get into it? How did you start? How did you find that path? Because you seem very comfortable and settled into what you're doing for someone who's 24 and has not probably been doing this for 15 years.
True.
So how did you go about making this, you know, legacy that it is happen?
Yeah. So I've really just been a very independent person. And I've always believed in doing things for myself because I think it's very important to get it going for yourself first before you get it going for other people. And I started working actually at a very young age. And I started working probably when I was like 17. I've worked in hotels, I've worked in retail, I've worked in finance. And I gathered that I don't really like being in that space because it really limits my creativity. It limits how I want to change other people's lives because it's where I need to be confined to every day.
Yeah.
So I then decided that the only way I can be able to really branch out and have a voice is by starting a business.
Right.
And I then had to go into exactly what I like doing, what I like watching, what I enjoy doing and everything. So then I realized that I love fashion. And I love speaking to young people and how can I maybe make money out of it. And that's how I came about with Glam Troop and building Mohale as a brand that wants to see everybody making it and in the process teaching people how to be the best version of themselves.
That's amazing, guys. That is like amazing. So basically you had vision, you had ambition, and then you applied that.
100%.
Now, I mean, it's a worldwide phenomenon that we all struggle to find backers, investors, people that believe in us.
Yes.
So how did you go about doing that?
So I really had to believe in the vision that I had, and I had to live, breathe, eat, sleep the brand. You know, because I think before people buy into whatever you're doing, they buy into you.
Right.
And they can really see the vision in your eyes before you know they see it on paper or before they see it anywhere else. And that's exactly what I did. I had to believe in so much of the vision that whenever I tell somebody else about the vision and maybe tell them about the money that I want or that I need, that they actually see the passion before they can see anything else.
Right.
So I started really knocking on doors, telling them about the vision that I have and telling them how much I believe in it so that they can believe in it. And that is exactly how I did it.
That's amazing. So first and foremost, I love that you said you have to believe in yourself. So like I say, guys, at Afrinique-Chic, it's about being your own brand within a brand. So I love that you said that because that just underlines being yourself brings you much further than you trying to copy someone else or trying to speak to someone else's identity. Let's speak about Pan-Africanism in terms of the Mohale brand, but also Glam Troop and what it is you do. How you started in SA, but you and I have spoken behind camera, off camera, so you guys haven't heard this, so I want him to repeat it. But the plan for Glam Troop is not just a national plan, correct? So how do you foresee Glam Troop expanding into a Pan-African movement?
Awesome. So at Glam Troop, we are a one-stop shop for matric dancers. And we do from your hair to your makeup, to the nails, to the outfit, to the shoes, photographer, and the car. So how we conduct the business is we go to a lot of schools, and therefore we engage with a lot of young people, and they sort of like put their trust in us. I don't know why, but they sort of like tell us about everything.
Because you're fashion. But anyway,
So it literally went beyond just matric dancers, the glam, the glitz. You know, we were being approached by different schools to come and do motivational talks. Speak to the kids about other issues that are really pressing. You know, besides matric dancers, we would speak to them about the exams, speak to them about their well-being, speak to them about career, speak to them about business, speak to them about literally everything.
Right.
And that's when I realized that the vision of the business is way bigger than what I had thought. And this now says to me, okay, we are doing the work in South Africa, that is amazing, but there is more other places than just South Africa. And with the voices that we have, with the reach that we can create, we can go into Africa. And which I think is important, because we are not trying to build a vision and a brand that only suits us and makes us comfortable in our spaces. You know, we need to look at the other needs that also speak directly to the brand. Which is why I think Glam Troop is going international. And it's important because, you know, when we sit down and look at the issues that we have in South Africa, they look big, but other people have more pressing issues. And once we've done the work here, I mean, nothing is really stopping us from going out there and speaking to every other person in Africa. And I think, that is basically what Glam Troop is, and that is where it is going.
That's awesome. Guys, as you know, at Afrinique-Chic, we're big on empowering and motivating and collaborating, because that is the future of Africa, and that is the spirit of Ubuntu in essence. So I love that you have a bottom line that speaks more towards the actual well-being of an individual versus just, it's good to look pretty. So our aesthetic, as you know, is basically working on the outside to better the inside, but also to create and be, like I tell people all the time, in the business of conscious fashion. Be aware of what you're wearing, why you're wearing it, where it comes from, how it makes you feel, how it inspires you, and let that message go from the inside to the outside. I'm not saying it's going to minimize our issues, but if you can tell your own tale and embrace yourself in terms of where you come from and be rooted in something deeper than just the fiscal or just the fashion or what have you, then we can change the world, if that 100%. Makes any sense. Because fashion is a mindset, like I say. Fashion is a mindset, and being an individual is a mindset, being Pan-African is a mindset. But everything comes from Africa. Everything. To create luxury, to create anything we possibly use this day and age. Why should you not be proud of where you come from, or you as an individual? And I love that that's what you preach in terms of being in touch with self, because that's what will actually ultimately bring you to the next level of what you want to do.
150%.
Now, in terms of collaborations and how you work with people, I love your work ethic, only because it's not about so much about the me. It's about the we, and that's how we work at Afrinique-Chic, and that's what we love to empower in people, because we can get a lot more done, and we can all benefit, and we can all win if we work together. Does that make sense, right?
Yes, definitely.
Tell us a little bit more about that policy. Who are you trying to work with? What are you hoping to achieve in terms of collaborations and moving this brand forward?
So in terms of collaborations, I think for me the most important thing is to collaborate with people who firstly believe in whatever they are doing, you know, so that if we're going to collaborate, we don't have to start from scratch and having to make people believe what we're trying to do, and, you know, have people who are still dragging themselves and not really sure of where they are going to. I believe in such collaborations, and I believe in collaborations that have a purpose. You know, because we can't just be collaborating because, hey, we want to look pretty, hey, let's post on Instagram and be amazing. You know, let's do a collaboration that's going to obviously speak to our brands, but also speak to other people out there. You know, and I've been thinking of I have a picture of a fashion show that I really want to do. But I just want the right collaborations, you know, because we go to a lot of fashion shows and it's just, hey, designer number one, showcasing, and that's it, you know. We don't have a purpose of why the specific garment?
Right.
Why
What's
the
the
shape of,
meaning
of,
behind
of,
it?
of the garment, and why is it doing, or why is it flowing the way it's flowing? You know, I believe in collaborations that tell a story.
Yeah.
That, you know, even when a person wakes up 10 days later after they've collaborated with you, they'll be like, okay, this is what I remember because we had a purpose.
Exactly.
And that is exactly what I believe.
They gained and they gave.
Yes.
And that's what it is. The gift of life is about taking and giving back, and also just creating our own identity within this big jungle of a business space. Now, what I also find super interesting is that you've been pushing, and I think a lot of young folk, but even people in our own generation, think, you know what, you wake up and your business is successful. And it's really not.
Sure.
So can you tell us a little bit about this? Yes, you've made it, but I've always said, like, when I'm referred to, well, aren't you successful? I said, I don't ever consider myself successful because the moment you do, you're comfortable.
Yes.
And then you stop doing what you need to be doing. You're helping less people. You're thinking less out of the box.
Yes.
So your ethos or the idea is actually out of the box, but within a box, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
It's not, you know, a revitalized concept, but it's a ingenious concept that's really, if you sit down and go, well, that's quite simple, but isn't really simple.
Not at all.
So how did you come about combining these aspects of what you loved and then saying, right, this is the principle, this is how we're going to work, this is how I'm going to get it there? What were the hardships you found? What was the easy stuff? Who can these people reach out to if they are idealistically trying to do the same thing, or even just a group of people trying to come together and work together? Like, what advice and what struggle would you say to avoid, or what should they be doing, and so on and so forth?
I think the most important thing is to start, number one. Because we tend to have a lot of ideas, a lot of concepts, but they are all on paper. You know, we never execute them. And for me, when I had the concept about Glam Troop, I had it on paper. It looked beautiful as a presentation. But having to execute it was the most difficult thing, because, you know, when you're starting off, you need to be the marketing manager, you need to be in HR, you need to be all in one, because you're trying to build a business here that will be reputable, and a business that would actually become an entity that works out for everyone else. And for me, I had to now sit down and research, put together a business plan, and I had to think, okay, how am I going to turn all of these 7 different things into one? Create packages and actually make money out of it. Because I think it's great and amazing to start a business, but how exactly is it going to benefit you, and how is it going to put you on the map where you really want to be? So I had to sit down, put my business plan together, put together these packages, and put together, there's a difference between having a business plan and a business action plan. How am I going to action out all of these things? And I had to think about a marketing strategy. How am I going to go out there and tell people exactly what it is that I'm trying to achieve, and for people to really understand it? Because people sometimes look at the business and be like, okay, you're just putting together makeup, shoes, and
what's the point?
What's the point? But they don't realize that it's a service that most people can't do for themselves. You know, and when we did our market research, speaking to different customers out there about how do you feel about planning a matric dance, we got the same answer: no, it's a job, I can't do it. And we realized that there's really a gap for it in the market. And also it's important for everyone who wants to start a business to know that if you're going to start a business, make sure that there is a gap for it, you know, and make sure that the gap that you're trying to fill is authentic and it's going to, you know, stand out, that this is what I'm trying to do. So it's not easy. I mean, I started working from my cell phone, from my house, and not even thinking that I'd one day have an office, I'd one day have a website for that matter, because all of those things need money. I had to go into different boardrooms and convince people to see exactly what I'm seeing. Which goes back to really believing in your concept, in your idea, and having a vision for it.
That's amazing. Now, you know, I'm big on legacy building, and I believe that you are a legacy builder. but you work for the youth. But do
Yes.
you work with the youth? Do you offer some internship programs? Do you, can they access you in some way in which
Yes.
they can actually ask you the hard-hitting questions and you actually take the time out to answer?
Yeah, so because I work with a lot of matrics, they come to our office and be like, can I work here? Can I like start in December and whatnot? Which is really amazing, because I think it's great to see young kids thinking about working during holidays,
right.
more than just, yeah, it's December, I'm going to chill. So we just hired a new intern 2 weeks ago. Who's going to help us during, because between now and Feb,
Right.
we have a lot of private schools that are having the matric dances early in the year.
Okay.
So I kind of need a lot of people to actually help me execute the plan.
Yeah.
And in terms of working with the youth, so when I go to these schools and give talks, they often ask for my contacts to say, okay, if maybe I want to get into this line of business, this line of work, how can I do it? And through the context that I got when I was still, establishing the business, I'm able to then share with them and say, go to the Department of Small Business, for example, or speak to Standard Bank Enterprise Department, because this is the information that is not really accessible to the people. And because I've had the advantage to have people show me different doors and show me different people to speak to, I am therefore able to say, okay guys, APSA is offering 10 businesses an amount of whatever. It's a competition. Do this, which is pretty amazing.
That is beyond awesome. And I love that you said you had people who kind of helped you pave the way for other people.
Yes.
That leads me to my next question, because I don't know if you find that, when you get into a business environment, it's almost like me, let's keep all the secrets to ourselves. And I love to find other like-minded entrepreneurs like yourself who are like, we can't do that because we live in a cohesive world, but also we need to encourage the youth and those who don't necessarily have the know-how in terms of coming out of their shell, trying to find the way so that it's not as hard on them. We each have our own struggles, but I think we were discussing off camera how sometimes things are very hard and you feel very isolated. And how I said to you, I wanted to start a new movement where it would be get us in a space, closed doors, and everybody signs a piece of paper, everything we say stays here, so that we can just talk about what really happens, as opposed to pretending that all's great and flowery and so on and so forth. So in terms of that, where you want to encourage people who are of our age, of our generation to, maybe they're sitting at a desk job they despise and they don't have that, I can do it. What would you offer them in terms of advice or a little nugget of information in terms of how to go out of that shell, but also to not be so mindful of everybody else and be more focused on you and the dream and the ambition?
I think the most important thing is people must not spend their entire life trying to translate what they feel inside through doing other things that don't even matter. If that one thing that you are always thinking about, that you always want to do it. Do it. Don't delay. Don't say, no, next year, no, the other year, no, because we tend to pull back because we're thinking of, where am I going to start? The most important thing is to start. Even if it means you're going to start with 10 Rand. But the most important thing is for you to start, because once you start, you are then opening doors that you didn't even know you could open. And I think for me, I was my last job, I worked for an asset management company. I went there every day and I would go to work, be on my computer, and instead of me working what I was actually hired for, I'd be Googling how to start a business, And I know it's a lot of times, and everyone keeps doing that, how to start a business, how can I get funding? And the only thing that you need to do is to start. Just start. And the minute you start, you are able to see that, okay, if I've done this, what is the next step? If I am now securing funding, where do I go? But if you don't start, you don't have a business plan, you don't have a concept, you haven't registered the business, you haven't done anything. So it's even hard for you to now start thinking of how exactly you're going to start trading when you don't have all of that in place. So even if it means going to register your business for 175, do it. That means starting.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for your time. You look phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank
Who,
you.
what, where are you wearing?
I am wearing Afrinique-Chic. I'm actually going to get a suit for this because I see myself in a black suit.
Guys, get yours. But first of all, congratulations. I don't know if I started with that, don't remember, but you just saying, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
And I keep saying, guys, he's Congolese, just disclaimer. Don't come after him. We're all Africans here, but I'm kidding. Thank you so much for making time for us. Guys, you heard everything that Mohale said. Like, just get started, but also have an utmost unshakable belief in self.
Yes.
And doors will open, but if they don't, you can bust them down too.
Yeah.
But you know where to contact us. You can follow us on Afrinique-Chic, or go see our YouTube pages, or go to Mohale's page, which is
Mohale_77 on Instagram.
We're available for all your questions, all your inquiries. So we'll see you soon, and let us know if you want us to talk to anybody about a specific topic. We're here for you, and we're here to make it work and help you make it work for yourself. Bye.
Peace.